Larry Rasmussen in this 10-year project dealing with several issues around ecology and care for the earth and justice here at Ghost Ranch. Can you tell us a little bit more of this project?
Well, Earth Honoring Faith is the name of the project, and it's a 10-year initiative between Ghost Ranch Conference and Retreat Center and environmentalists and activists, particularly clergy people who are also interested in creation care and earth care. So the gift of this project is that we have had a number of seminars over the course of these first 7 years to allow for activists and clergy to come to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and to place themselves and their hearts and their spirits here to think out loud in dialogue together about what needs to change in our faith communities and in our theologies so that we are in better relationship and in better communion with the earth. This takes place in a number of different ways. Some have just come into environmental understandings, and as church leaders are deciding that for one small step is to change from using so much paper in their churches to using a projector. So instead of bulletins, oftentimes churches make the decision to be more environmentally aware to actually use projectors and those kinds of things. We've also had amazing musicians come to try to help us to re-hymn our hymnals, literally to write new songs for environmental care and earth justice. In this year, which is very exciting, we're in the 7th year, we are moving to a place of really honoring the wisdom of women. So we have invited Tewa women from the nearby pueblos here in New Mexico, Tewa Women United, Kathy Sanchez, and Beata to come and serve as faculty to represent Native women's voices. We've had the pleasure of being with Chandra Taylor Smith and myself to really help us to get into the African American experience and women's wisdom when it comes to ecological justice through that experience. We've had the amazing gifts of Nettie to bring forth Latina ecofeminism perspectives, looking at wonderful intersections that happen as we think about ecological justice from a Latina perspective. And then we've also heard from Anglo women through the work of Janet Parker, who is a Presbyterian pastor, as Nettie is also a pastor, thinking a little bit more about what is it that white women have contributed through the work of ecofeminism to the environmental justice movement. So the goal of this work to get the women included is not that, we've been pretty intentional about making sure that women have been represented, but this is the first time that we have had women of such diverse cultural and religious perspectives in the same space.
Wow. And thinking about these issues too, what would you say would be our biggest challenges today living in US and into this in our world today?
Well, as a teacher, I work with young people, and one of the, I think, challenges that I often face in the classroom is just to recognize how much history they do not know, even by the time they finish high school. There are many histories that we have that are so important, and yet those histories are in danger of being forgotten. And so going back and reestablishing wisdom and teaching again and again and again the stories of the elders becomes very important, because I also believe that we can face the future with the wisdom of the past, but it's imperative for us to go back and honor that past, as challenging as that past may be. So I teach in the same lineage of Dr. Vincent Harding and others, the civil rights movement. I continue to teach that even in 2014, because I find that many of the students who come, even after high school, don't know a lot of the stories of the civil rights movement. And that kind of movement is a central movement for the United States of America.
And why? Why is it important for us to know the civil rights movement?
It's so crucial, I think, because the civil rights movement was an amazing time of coming together as people of all racial and ethnic backgrounds and people of all religiosities to come together to dismantle some of the colonialism that was left behind and the kind of disease of hate through the process of racial hatred and white supremacy. And while white supremacy continues to be a part of our society and a part of our reality, the civil rights movement really was a time to shake the original skeleton of white supremacy down. And as students learn about the civil rights movement, what I recognize is they are actually becoming more aware of how they can be racially aware, how they continue to have relationships with each other, and as they grow and as they understand more, how they continue to put mutuality relationship into their frame and way of being. And that kind of frame and way of being produces peace building. It produces justice keepers. It produces people who want to work for peace and not work for an additional kind of globalization and militarization, those kinds of powers.